It doesn't take money to make money. It takes resourcefulness. It takes value creation. It takes service. It takes solving problems. Sure, you can have money that makes money, but the reality is it takes mental and relationship capital to make money. Financial capital is like a receipt. Money is like a receipt of stored value. I want you to get really clear about your sole purpose, and we'll walk through that here in a second. I want you to be really clear of the producer paradigm. A producer paradigm is led by innovation and ingenuity and creation, and we're talking about the three characteristics that are going to let you own the future. The first one being what? The second one? Right? Okay, so should I tell you the third one or just like see who can get it? All right, I'm not going to tell you. No, I'll tell you. So adaptable, we're really clear. It just means that you can't get stuck in your ways because the world's moving too fast, right? Creation is allowing you to build something from your mind where vision is going to be compelling. And the third piece is connection. Connection. That's relationships. It's not the number of subscribers or followers, or it's not necessarily everything happening in social media. It's the one-on-one interaction where you're present and you're connected, because that's where value exists. See, the only real assets in the world are people. And so even if you feel like real estate's an asset, real estate's only an asset if it's utilized by people. The real estate doesn't write a check, the people that use it write a check. So there's no such thing as corporations, there's people that work inside of a corporation. The question is the vision of that corporation and the values of that corporation aligned with who you are as a human being? And is it part of the vision that you want to have, or is that someone else's vision? I feel like in the world of scarcity, a lot of us are being sold, just like I was when I was graduating college, that I should go build someone else's dream rather than have my own. Because that was the way to be safe and secure. But we've watched pensions get decimated. We watch people go work for someone and give all this stuff and get major promises and never see that come to fruition. And that's why I go right back to the very beginning. Vision is the rarest commodity. What is your vision? Like for me, I'll just share what I mean by vision. I use JFK as an example. Land a man on the moon, return him safely home within the decade. By the way, JFK was assassinated and they still made it to the moon by the end of the decade. He created a vision so compelling that it lived beyond his physical form. That's a vision. Most US-based companies or world companies that say they have a mission or a vision statement don't have a mission or vision statement. They have a bunch of gobbledygook that goes on a wall that means nothing. It lives on a wall and never in someone's heart. Like I went into my credit union the other day. I don't go there very often, but my accountant was in Europe, so I had the joy of going in there. And inside there it said their mission was to fulfill my dreams. So I needed a document, notarized that was in Italian, because I have a dual citizenship where I'm an Italian citizen, and I was going to be traveling over there, and they said they couldn't do it. And I was like, why not? They're like, because it's in Italian. I'm like, are we not familiar with Google Translate yet? Or I didn't understand what the problem was, because it was me. I was going to sign it right there in front of them. And I just told them they sucked at fulfilling dreams by the time I left. So, but see, that's an incongruent statement. They're saying it because they think that's what people want to hear versus who they are. So you can go and look at most mission statements and it says, to provide great customer service. That's a stupid idea. That's just part of the basics of business. You should provide great customer service, and you don't have to tell people about it, you just do that, right? And that doesn't put you into an elite category, it just levels the playing field if you want to be extraordinary. Like a vision should be something that lives in the hearts of your people, not on a wall. For my firm, it's called Wealth Factory. We want to get 1 million people liberated so they're economically independent. Most people are in financial bondage. We want to release 1 million people by giving them the strategies, methodologies, insights, and team to get them there. And why? Because you only get one chance to build a life you love and create a legacy that lasts. And we know that if we help them, they can change their family's financial future and their overall destiny so they could build that life that they love. That matters to us. That's how we attract good employees. That's how we have clients that want to become major advocates for us, because it's a vision that when I said 1 million, I don't know how to get there. Like we're maybe at 120,000 people we're impacting directly right now, but we're continuing to have other people step up, be part of it, because we're speaking something into existence. That's vision. And it's congruent with my sole purpose because I love it. I enjoy it. I'm obsessed with it, right? So what is it for you? What is it that's going to call to your soul purpose to bring out the best of who you are, to help you increase your abilities and raise those capabilities, to help you get even more passionate about what you do? Like, just start looking at your life. What do you find yourself wanting to debate or get engaged in or talk about or read about, or like that you get all sorts of worked up about? What are those things? Do you see things in the world where you feel like there's too much pain or travesty, or you see some major new development that can make a massive difference? Where do you feel completely called? That's where you invest your time and money right now. Like, invest in that. Forget about IRAs. They are going to be a huge, colossal disappointment for you. 401ks, they are not getting people where they're supposed to go. 95% of people that are age 65 are not financially independent, but they're saving money into these plans. Those are never going to be game changers for you. And I know not a lot of financial people will come and tell you that that stuff is crap, but I'm here to tell you that your best investment is you. And the more you invest into your mind, into your experiences, into the discovery of your soul purpose, the better the leader you're going to be, the more power you're going to have, and the game-changing impact you'll be able to make. But if you go put your money in a mutual fund, I don't know, everybody know what a mutual fund is? A mutual fund which is going to have 500 stocks, you might hate 100 of those companies. Like, out of the Fortune 500, there's 100 companies that I would despise having to do business with. I don't want to help them. I want to improve the world that I can impact. I want to invest back into myself and into those skill sets. I want to expose even more ability to the world that serves, solves problems, and delivers value. So here's the entire kind of equation that I look at. Everybody good so far? What was the third thing for telling the future? You guys are like on it. I love it. So I'm going to give you what I call the value equation, since really the core of this is value. And a few statements I'll make is, if you ever think you have a money problem in the future, it's never a money problem. That's just a symptom of a deeper issue. And that if you want to create more value, you can use this equation. And the thing to understand about this is you're only one idea. So hopefully during the next 9 days, is it 9 days after this? Hopefully over the next 9 days you get new ideas that transform your thinking. Or you're one relationship away from the next level of prosperity, so hopefully you build deep bonds and great relationships that help you to have more prosperity. This is the value equation. It's this. It's mental capital. So mental capital is your ideas, it's your knowledge, it's your wisdom, it's your insights, it's tools, it's strategies. Like, it's mental capital. The more mental capital you have, the more value you're going to be able to provide. And that doesn't mean that you become an expert in everything. It means you become so good at your sole purpose and what you do best. So to give you kind of an idea around this, there's a program I went to called Strategic Coach, and the guy that created it, his name's Dan Sullivan. And he said there's 4 levels of ability. And he said the first level is incompetence, right? The base level is incompetence, and people try to do things they're incompetent at, sometimes in the name of saving money. I'm doing it because if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. People that say that don't understand how to hire or don't spend time with the right people, by the way. Like, if you want something done right, find someone that's brilliant at doing that and delegate it to them. But you can't be cheap. You got to pay for it. The second level is competence. So competence, a lot of times we do things that we're competent at, once again, just because it's easier in the moment. But here's a notion to consider. We can do things in one of 2 formats, hard easy or easy hard. Easy hard is, right now, it might be easier for me to just do something versus delegate it. It might be easier for me just to take care of something. Like, this is especially apparent in my mind with kids. Like, it's a lot easier for me just to pick up, clean up, or do a project. Because a 5-minute project, if I bring the 11-year-old along, is now a 50-minute project because his ADD and, whatever it might be. But if I do not teach him, it's the easy thing to do it myself right now. Life gets harder for him and for me in the future when he's a train wreck and he's ill-prepared for life, right? Hard easy is, hey, sometimes it's hard to discover your soul purpose, to invest in yourself, to create a vision. That's actually hard work. But the better you get at it, the more you focus on it, the easier your life becomes, because you're now setting yourself up for success. You're now setting yourself up to build a life that you love. So when people get stuck in easy hard, they're usually doing things they're incompetent at or competent at, and you'll know it because you want to procrastinate these things. They're going to drain your energy as well. Now, this is where the trap is, and especially in a room like this. is there's things you're excellent at. There's things that you can do that other students couldn't do. There's things that maybe in your community you're the best at it of anyone you know, but you're not inspired by doing it. You're not energized by doing it. You're just excellent. The line of demarcation is when you move up into the top realm here, of you find the things you're unique at. That sole purpose of combination. So like you might have similar abilities, but then you add values and all of a sudden it's different. You add passion, all of a sudden it's even more unique. You add vision, it becomes even more unique. Like where are you unique at? Like I'm unique at writing, at speaking, at creating content, at building relationships, and establishing a vision for my firm. There's 5 activities. If I get outside of those 5 activities, I've moved out of the unique zone and either to the excellent zone, which I'm excellent at sales, but I'm not unique at it. I'm excellent at coaching, but I'm not unique at it. I'm competent at management, and I'm incompetent at technology and systems. So if I move below the line, if I do things below the line, I'm going to be dragged down and the world's not going to get the most value. It's going to harm my wealth, it's going to harm my daily enjoyment, and it's going to crowd out quality of life. So where you're unique is where you're going to build the best mental capital. So don't go out there and just become well-rounded at everything. Just maybe become adequate at a few things, but then become extraordinary at 5 or less things. If you get extraordinary at 5 or less things, you will be an absolute leader. You can create a compelling vision. And I would really recommend you find out in those areas where you can be creative, where we all can be creative in different ways. What is your way of creation that you're unique? Discover that, right? All right, we take our mental capital, first part of the value equation, and we take the second part, which is relationship capital. People, networks, organizations, mentors, friends, family. It goes back to me saying people are the only real assets in the world. So if our mental capital, if we take our mental capital and we multiply it by relationship capital, that's going to determine how much financial capital we have in the world. So if you want more money, you don't have to have money to make money. That is have you ever heard that it takes money to make money? You know who tells you that? People that have been sold to give their money to others that it didn't take their money to make money. Like if I told you it takes money to make money and then want you to invest with me, it's not going to take my money. I'm selling you on it taking your money. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes resourcefulness. It takes value creation. It takes service. It takes solving problems. Sure, you can have money that makes money, but the reality is it takes mental and relationship capital to make money. Financial capital is like a receipt. Money is like a receipt of stored value. When I go to the store, I don't go to the store to get receipts. I go there to get the goods. Bought myself a few drinks for the drive down that had a little caffeine just in case, because I'm not used to driving. I get pampered and I just fly everywhere, but it's like, I'm going to drive down here. And so I didn't go there to get the receipt. I got there to get the drinks, right? The receipt is just evidence of what was purchased. So when you have a receipt of money, it's evidence that you've delivered value in some way. Now, those rules don't exactly apply all the time within families, right? I'm talking about beyond families, when you're really impacting the world. And so the bridge between mental and relationship capital is business. Business is what facilitates your knowledge to bring it to deliver value to other people. So when you have a unique insight, value, creation, and ability, and you bring it to people, that's how you make money. Now, there's 2 ways to dive into making even more. One is the more people you can reach, right? That would be the first level of impact. So the more people you can reach, that's why you see a lot of software companies, they make a lot of money because they can reach a lot of people through leverage and scale without having to be physical products. The second piece is the people you are reaching, how do you deliver even more value or deeper impact for those people? So first, how do you reach as many people as you can possibly facilitate and serve? And then second, how do you deliver as much value to them as possible? This is what I call the value equation. So if you want more money, it's either about spending time with the right relationships or investing in yourself and in your knowledge so you can deliver more value to those relationships. So let's break that down even further. In relationships, I've built 3 categories. I've just made these terms up. This is just how just a simple way of how I protect my energy, create a life I enjoy. And 2 years ago, we spent a couple months in Italy. And I don't know if anyone's been to Italy, but they're masterful at the art of doing nothing. It's glorious. If you love to nap, they've got that solved. If you're okay having a 5-hour dinner, that can happen every single night, right? They're never rushing you out. So what happened is I got really kind of laid back and chill, and then all of a sudden I come back to America and I noticed there's certain people that are always addicted to drama, always addicted to, trauma, always got their own agenda where they want to throw that up on me and then have me get engaged in that chaos. And when I came back, I was like, here's going to be my categories for relationship capital. The first category is going to be friends. Who are my friends? Friends are people that cheer me on. They inspire me. I can share my vision with them. They're excited about it. They might even challenge me. Friends could be mentors. They could be peers. They could be customers. They're just people that I want to do business with. I want to say yes to their invitations, and I want to invite them to things. Those are friends, okay? Then I created another category called friendlies. So in friendlies, I remember I went and spoke at this event once, and when they introduced me, they said that I owned all the skyscrapers in Salt Lake City. Now, I owned 45% of a 3-story building. I don't know if that's considered a skyscraper. I don't think so. But there's bigger buildings and more than that, and that's all I happened to own at that time. Then they said every other person that was teaching at this course was my client. Jack Canfield was there, Tony Robbins. I've never even talked to these guys, so they're definitely not clients. And so I was like, I don't understand why this guy's who he's talking about. So I got up there to speak, and I go, I don't know who got introduced. I either look forward to meeting them or becoming them one day. I mean, I didn't really know what to do. It was a weird situation. And so I went to that organizer of that event, and I got in an argument. I was like, this is ridiculous. You can't lie. And then I came back 3 months later, and guess what? He lied again. Now, and even better, the second lie was even better, because first off, he's from Georgia, and I'm from Utah. So I think he automatically assumed that I was Mormon. I think it's because I look a little like Jesus, just a little bit, and so that might have been the confusion. But he then said that we kneeled down, and Mormons don't really kneel down. I grew up Catholic, where we did kneel down and prayed together, which never happened. So I'm like, what kind of crap now is he starting? And so I got all upset and went and met with him and started lecturing him. And then I just realized in the middle of the talk, I'm like, you know what, I chose to be here. Why don't I just opt out and never come back? And guess what? All the drama went away. So with friendlies, instead of trying to argue with insane people, instead of arguing with people that are addicted to drama, I just opt out. And when I see them, I only engage in small talk. I try to make it as pleasant and short as possible. And I've just become masterful at the art of declining in a positive way. When they say, hey, this is my favorite. I'm getting on a plane to San Diego, and I see my wife's ex-boyfriend. And it was one that she dated just before we started dating and then got married. And so I just went up to talk to him. And at the end of the conversation, he says, we should go to lunch sometime. And I just chuckled, and I put my hand on his shoulder. I was like, that's never going to happen, bud. But I appreciate the invitation, because he was an a-hole. Why am I going to go to lunch with him? But a lot of times we feel obligated to say yes when we really mean no. And so I once bought a book. I do this sometimes where I buy books because I like the title, but the title does enough for me. I bought this book called The Power of a Positive No. I never read it, but I just remembered I'm just going to learn how to positively say no to people. And so people on the friendly list, when they invite me to do something, I say, I've got 3 passion projects right now, my head down on that. If that changes, I'll let you know. I never tell them to call me back. I say, I'll let them know. So I give them a polite no. It's a firm no. I didn't leave a crack open in the door. Or, that's the key with friendlies, is you just learn to say no. And I remember I had another person that I had a cash flow crunch in 2008, and they told someone else, they're like, I'm really glad to hear that. They were really happy to hear that my family was potentially suffering. And when that got back to me, I was like, you know what? This is someone I've never really had a great interaction with, so I'm just going to be masterful at positive no's. And so what happened was, there was one more encounter that my wife had with her. My wife was in this reading group. They would read books together, but she was 8 months pregnant. And so she didn't go to this one because she wasn't feeling well. Well, they happened to read my first book called Killing Sacred Cows. I don't know if anyone's heard of the book. You guys are young, it's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings, too bad that you don't know about it. But they decided to read that book, and she wasn't there. And then her friend called her and said, they hated the book, that this group hated my book. And my wife had called hysterically crying. Now, I was concerned because she's 8 months pregnant, so I was like, I hope everything's okay with our son. But then I also remembered that I had this shirt that said future billionaire, and it just had like fuzzy letters, and her parents threw it away when she was like a month before that, and she was hysterically crying. So I thought in perspective, maybe these hormones are pretty difficult things to manage when you're pregnant. I found out that they hated the book, and I was like, oh, thank God. She goes, what do you mean, thank God? I'm like, I don't like them. And if I wrote a book that they liked, I would really question my book. Because they had, the things they would argue with is like, people know that when you get a job, you want to do the least possible and get paid. Like that was one argument, because I said you should add the most value. I'm like, I'd have to go back and rewrite this book. So anyway, this girl was on the friendly list. I just started saying no, never invited her to anything, and guess what? When her husband turned 40, my wife goes, hey, we didn't get invited to the 40th birthday. I'm like, it's working. Like she saw it as a bad thing. I was like, great, they've stopped even trying. Now when I say no to someone on the friends list, I always say, I hope you invite me next time. I'm just really committed right now. So please keep me in mind the next time you do dinner or the next time you're in town. And then my last category, this is kind of more for my price friends. Buddies. Like I'm not sharing my vision with them, but I go hunting with them. You know, I just go have some fun. I'm not talking about the stuff like this that they would think is absolutely weird. We're just hanging out and telling jokes. I'm going to spend a small amount of time here because it's just kind of nice to relax and to keep connected to people I've known from the time I was 1. But friends are who I want to spend 80% of my time with, right? People that want to celebrate the wins, they want to advance it, they want to create accountability. So when you start doing this, you're going to massively increase your relationship capital because you only have so much time in the day, but you're spending it with the right people.